Hello, boys and girls. This is the second part of the math homework for the week, and this has to do with the number bonds. They gave you a Honeycomb number bond sheet, so we're going to go ahead and review what number bonds are, how we use those in math, and the ways that we use them in the classroom, and then relate them to this worksheet. One way we use them in the classroom, if you remember, we used to do a lot of activities with our plates and our math buddies. I know this plate isn't exactly like the ones we used in our classroom. Ours were round. It's okay. Same concept. It has 3 spaces. It has a whole, and it has 2 parts. And you can also say part, part, whole. So this is where the total amount would go. Let's say that I had a gumball machine with 7 gumballs in my machine. I had 7 gumballs in the machine, but then my friend Reagan came by and she took 2 gumballs from the machine. I know that part of my gumballs are now gone. 2 gumballs are now out of the machine. I need to know what the other part would be, or how many are left. There are many ways we can figure that out. Some easy ways that we worked on in our classroom to help us with our math strategies is you could use a number line, which I made above. You could draw a picture to work out the problem, or you can simply use a tens frame. So if you remember, I had 7 gumballs in the machine, and 2 of them were taken from the machine, and I need to know what the other part is, or how many are left. So let's start with the number line. I know that my target number is 7. That is what I began with. Then when I see the 2, I have to decide, do I go up or down on the number line? Do I go forward or backward? I go backward. You're correct, because Reagan took 2 of the gumballs, so I have 2 less now. So if I were to start at the 7, and I apologize, this is tricky holding this and doing it at the same time. If I were to start at the 7 and I were to hop back 2, or 2 gumballs are missing, I land on number 5. So I know that the other part of my gumballs is 5. Another way I could have solved that is I could have just drawn a simple picture of a gumball machine with 7 gumballs. If Reagan came and took 2 gumballs out of the machine, I can simply cross off 2 gumballs. And then I can count what is left. And when I count my gumballs, what is left, I would see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I could also use a tens frame if I didn't want to draw a picture. I could simply make a tens frame with my 10 boxes. I could put my 7 gumballs into the tens frame. And then the same thing, if Reagan came and took 2 gumballs, same thing, I would just mark off 2 of the gumballs. And what is left is 5. So I know that the other part of 7 and 2 is 5. Or you can look at it this way as well. After you figured that out, you would know that 5 and 2 more gives you 7. Let's look at one more example of this. And then I'll show you how we could do this with the honeycombs. Another way you would have seen the number bonds in our classroom is simply with the circles, where we pretended like this was our giant plate, and on this giant plate I might have 5 cookies. Along comes my friend Gage. Gage is given 3 of my cookies. I began with 5, this was the whole amount, but I gave 3 of them to him. I need to know how many more cookies would still be on my plate. So, same thing, I can solve the problem as well using a number line, pictures, or just a tens frame. So here is the way we're going to solve this one. I began with 5 cookies on the plate. Gage has 3 now, so I have 3 less now. So I would start, my target number is 5, and if I have 3 less, you're right, I move backwards on the number line. 1, 2, 3. And I land on the number 2. I know there are still 2 cookies on my plate. Another way I could have solved that, remember, this is the whole amount. I began with 5 cookies on the plate. Gage took 3. I'm going to mark off 3. 1, 2, 3. What is left? 2 cookies on our plate. Now I could have as well have used a tens frame. That is another strategy. Remember, these are just different strategies we had. If you want to use a number line, if you still need to draw a picture, do what you need to solve those problems. These number bonds really help us with learning our fluency. That's the whole point of them, that when I practice these in kindergarten, first grade, and even sometimes in second grade, that's going to help you become a more fluent person in math. So when you see this, you'll know right away, oh, 5 minus 3. Oh, I would have 2 left. That will come, boys and girls, with lots of practice. So right here, I have a tens frame with 5 cookies in it. I gave 3 to Gage, so I simply mark off 3 cookies and I have 2 left. You do not have to use all those strategies to help you solve these number bonds. Pick one that you're comfortable with. If you only use pictures, you might want to try a number line. It would be good to try 1 or 2, I guess, but just make sure that you can find a way to solve this problem on your own. So let's try them now, how you would see them on the worksheet. So on your worksheet, instead of circles or squares, you see hexagon shapes, and they're technically doing the same thing. So here are my hexagon shapes. Remember that the hexagon off to the side by itself is the whole amount. It's the whole amount. It doesn't matter if the hexagon were at the top, the left or the right side, it doesn't matter as long as I look for the part, whole. So your first number bond, they gave you a 12. We're going to do the first 2 together, just like on the last paper. And then they gave you a 4. So they want you to figure out what is the other part. They gave you the whole. They gave you 12. You could say 12 cookies, 12 gumballs, 12 stars, anything. They gave you 12. Part of that was 4. So let's pretend like I took 4 out. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I still need to have 12 total. So if I have 12 and they took 4 out, another way you can do this is count on. 4, you know there's 4 in that one. You could make your circles real small. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You could draw circles until you get to 12 after the 4. And then you would count your circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that the other part of 12 is 8. So if I had 4 cookies and 8 cookies, I would have 12 cookies total. Find a way that's comfortable for you. If you have any problems still, questions, please reach out to me. Thank you. Oh, and let's get moving. I almost forgot. Probably some of you like this as the favorite part at the end of your video. This one says, hop on 1 foot for 10 seconds. Now the other. So each foot, you're going to hop on your foot for 10 seconds. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you again. Thank you.